Remember when pickup trucks were intended to be beat up and used for work, rather than just being status symbols with a monthly payment the size of your mortgage? Me too, but times have definitely changed over the years. Now don't get me wrong, the modern trucks are fantastic in their own way. Like, they're very complicated, they've got tons of features that you don't need. Like, do you really need features like lane keep assist and crawl control and a heated steering wheel? And heck, I don't even need a reverse camera really. We got mirrors, we've been using them for the last 100 years. They're nice to have, but they also come with a huge price. And if you've seen the prices on these modern Toyota trucks, they're only getting higher and higher. So in my opinion, if you want a simple, reliable truck that you can fix yourself a lot of the time, you get yourself a second gen Tacoma. Now mine here, this is a lower SR5 model. They did make them nicer than this with better features. And this one has 340,000 kilometers on it, and it continues to be super reliable even still. I think aside from their legendary reliability, Toyota trucks' big claim to fame has always been their simplicity. They're so basic and so simple that you just can't help but love them. It gives them a certain amount of charm. And nowadays, especially the 4th gen Tacomas, they're getting so complicated. We're talking turbocharged 4-cylinders, hybrid systems, all of these electronic features and stuff. It's different than what the Toyota trucks were in the past. Don't like the idea of having to replace those hydraulic hood struts? Well, this rod isn't going to wear out anytime soon. Check out how easy it is to access everything that you need in the engine bay here. You can reach the light bulbs with one hand on both sides effortlessly. Battery, fuse box, everything is all in the wide open here. You got your oil filter right up top. No fumbling around with cartridges and special wrenches or anything like that. You can just grab it with one hand. Super simple. Want to fill it up with gas? Well, there's no fumbling around under the dash for the lever that's connected to a cable that's just going to seize up and get rusty in the wintertime. Just grab it and open it up. Boom. I don't exactly consider myself a skilled mechanic by any means, but I was able to put this puppy back together with nothing more than the 10mm socket and the Ryobi impact gun that you guys all made fun of me for. I have to say that out of all of my vehicles, the MR2 here, the Harley, even the 4Runner outside, this Tacoma is the only one that I don't get compliments on when I go and pump gas at the gas station. And that's kind of the point. You don't buy a truck like this because you're looking for attention. One of the best parts of the 2nd generation Tacoma is its drivetrain. And the 4-liter V6 has been around for 21 years. So I think it's safe to say that it is completely proven. We totally understand it. We know its weak points, we know its strengths, we know what to expect when you buy one. And Toyota was obviously a huge fan of this engine as well because they put it in so many different trucks over the years. So if simplicity is the name of the game here, then how come I'm not saying that the 1st generation Tacoma is the best one of all? Well, the 1st gen does indeed have a few perks over the newer trucks, like a manual transfer case, things like that. But I would argue that they're a little bit too simple. And the big thing is that they're a little bit too small, I think, for like a daily driven truck. Depending on, how big you are and your needs, if you have a family, what you're carrying in the bed and stuff like that. They're also fairly underpowered compared to the 4-liter V6. It's kind of funny that I'm on the other end of the argument this time because I'm normally boasting about how the 4.7 V8 and the 4Runner has so much more power than the 4-liter V6, but the 1st gens are just a little bit too underpowered, I think. And I will admit that the 4-liter V6 here, the 1GR, is adequate. It has enough power to use the truck for what you want to use it for. And I just don't feel like you're going to be hauling heavier loads and towing stuff with a 1st gen. At least not as your first choice. I think if you drove both trucks back to back, you're gonna be like, well, the 2nd gen can handle work stuff a little bit better. Well, what about the 3rd gen Tacoma? And they have been hugely popular in the Toyota truck community. They have awesome aftermarket support and stuff like that. They're fantastic trucks as well. But I feel like they still fall short of the 2nd gen Tacoma for a couple of reasons. First of all, let's talk about that direct injected 3.5 V6 in the 3rd gen. So did the direct injection really give it more power and better fuel economy? Not really, not compared to the 4-liter. I think the biggest complaint that I've seen people have with a 3rd gen Tacoma has been the constant hunting for gears with that 3.5 and the automatic transmission. It's frustrating, and let's be honest, it puts unnecessary wear and tear on the truck. Now it does seem like that gear hunting can be remedied by tuning the ECU, and maybe that's all there is to it. Or just order a manual transmission. And to be honest, guys, a manual transmission 3rd gen Tacoma that does have me questioning my whole stance on this second gen business. Another issue that I have with the third gen is the push button start. And we currently have a big problem with modern vehicles getting stolen, especially like in the Toronto area. The Toronto police actually told people to leave your keys at your front door so that robbers don't have to break into your house to steal your vehicle. Just give it to them. Just don't put up a fight. But anyways, what's happening is thieves are duplicating the signal that comes from your key fob and they're hopping in your vehicle and driving away. You know what's a lot harder to duplicate from a laptop? A set of keys, metal ones. It's worked for however many decades. Why mess with it? I understand the convenience of push button start. It is a nice feature to have, but to me it's not worth losing your truck over. Yeah, these 4-liter V6s are not exactly great on gas. They are pretty thirsty. With this truck, I average around 16, 17 miles per gallon with the 265s on here, even at stock height. So I'm sure the 3.5 is a little bit more fuel efficient, and I mean the 4th gens, the turbo 4-cylinders are definitely gonna be better, but from what I've seen online, it doesn't seem like they're hitting the mid 20 mile per gallon like they're supposed to, at least not under real world driving conditions. Finally, the 3rd generation Tacomas might be an overall better truck, but when you factor in what they sell for, it's a little bit harder to see the value there compared to these 2nd gens. And let's be realistic here, guys. Every single Toyota Tacoma right now is wildly overpriced. It doesn't matter if it's a brand new 4th gen or you find a rust-free 1st gen out west. All of these trucks are so loved and so popular that everybody's commanding a premium, whether they're new, used, doesn't matter. But if you're gonna get a smoking deal on a solid truck, I think the best chance of finding one is with a 2nd gen. One thing I will say is it's definitely worth upgrading the head unit on these older trucks just to make them feel a little bit more modern and give you more convenience if you want to use things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Super simple to work on, but once again, these trucks just snap together for the most part, so you can swap one of those head units yourself if you're even remotely mechanically inclined. And it's a big upgrade on these otherwise kind of outdated trucks. So the bottom line is that I feel like the 2nd generation Tacoma is the perfect mix of the simplicity of the 1st gen and the convenience and comfort of the 3rd gen. It's sort of right in the middle, kind of the best of both worlds. With all that said though, would I buy this exact 2006 SR5 all over again if I was given the chance? Well, this is actually my wife's truck, so she owned it when I married her. Happy coincidence that I happen to have a online brand all about Toyota trucks, but I feel like there are definitely nicer 2nd gens than this exact truck. First of all, I would prefer to have a double cab. I think these access cabs, they really don't provide much practicality. There's really not that much space in the back seat, and I struggled to mount a rear-facing baby seat in the back of this truck. And yeah, it could do it, but it didn't do it well. You couldn't even put a passenger in the front passenger seat. The seat was shoved right up to the dashboard. So I think a double cab, even though they don't have a huge back seat either, it's much more practical. I would prefer a higher level truck as well. The SR5 it's not that I'm bougie and I want to have all the fancy options and stuff, but I think at least like a TRD off-road package would be nice to have the locking rear differential and the skid plates and stuff. I would also like a post-facelifted model where they did update the front and rear ends of these trucks, and they also updated the interior. With that said though, you really can't go wrong with any year of the 2nd generation Tacomas. They've all been proven to be rock solid. It just comes down to what you can find for sale that's in good condition and what your wallet can afford. So comment below, guys, what's your take? What do you think is the best generation of the Toyota Tacoma? What is the holy grail? If you're a Tacoma enthusiast, what is the best one that was ever made? Also, if you're thinking about buying one of these Tacomas for yourself, head over to my website. I've got a handy buyer's guide for these 2nd gens for you to check out. It lays out all the information that you need to know about the different model years, different changes, common problems, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya!